Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is Jones. Report us for the 23rd, and we start off, post Iran attack, going after the nuclear facilities, all the blah blah blah, yada yada. And at the end of the day, the market, obviously opened lower because of the panic trade, and promptly recovered because everyone was taking the idea that Iran is going to retaliate, blah 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 blah. And they may, but what are their options? Well, their surrogates in Beirut have been wiped out. Syria, they've been wiped out. West Bank, Gaza Strip, wiped out. So they don't have any proxies near Israel. The only other choice they have is to go after U.S. bases. They already evacuated those. So what's the bonus? And then they've already had most of their air defenses stripped. So, yeah, terrorism is about what you've got left after that. Do they really want to go down that route? Because that opens up a Pandora box for them. And, fine, they get the world support, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they're not going to close the Strait of Hormuz. Nobody believes that that's going to happen, even though the Iranian parliament approved it. Good luck. In any battle that takes place there, they're just going to decimate Iran anyway. So, where's the incentive for the Iranians on that aspect of it? And any move that way would be short lived anyway. So, yeah, we get a rebound right here. We never even saw an MBI white spiking above. We've just been in. Not even continuation because the orange DOC here has been outside of the range, so it's just a matter of new buyers showing into it. We started way lower, now we're only off maybe 8 points. I mean, that's not even a day's range, so really insignificant overall at this particular stage. Barring something significant else happening, the fact that it was done over the weekend after a big OPEX sort of becomes a non-event. People are going to jawbone a lot about this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, the market sees potential with this because now that's no longer a factor. Israel's pretty much wiped out those that can do anything in the area. So what's left? To make peace. That's about all they can do at this particular stage. The Fed is certainly not going to be helping. They're not going to be providing any liquidity. So nobody's looking at that for a backstop, and they're not going to provide it. And they're just waiting out Powell's time to be removed. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens from there. Now, from an oil standpoint, yeah, you still have to add that risk premium, and that is set it to new highs. And, you've got a short window for Trump, and I'm sure that's why he chose to do this early because this was going to prolong and you're going to get sustained. There's no way. I mean, your real value for oil is, in that sub 60 range anyway. Some are talking about 120 potential, so that puts you right around the $80 range in an average, from a risk assessment, and you're getting pretty close there at the start of the day. But without any actual retaliation as of yet, some of that's discounted. Now, if you actually get a peace agreement, I think you would see oil take a plummet really fast. But that hasn't happened, and it doesn't look like the Iranians are in any mood to do anything like that. Euro started lower because this is a nightmare for the Eurozone because higher oil prices are destructive for them. So that it's even held up to where it is still shocking because literally will decimate their economies far more than the U.S. because at least the U.S. domestic production can satisfy its demand without much difficulty. From a gold standpoint, everyone was hoping that gold would skyrocket off something like this, but you're not seeing that inflationary pressure. And, it's going to be interesting because as the U.S. Continues to move towards greater deportations in that, you're going to see lower demand, lower inflation in general, even if oil prices remain slightly elevated. You'd be amazed at how quickly that has a deflationary impact in the short term. I'm not talking about long term, but that does have a short term impact because you're just removing consumers, even if they're on the lower end of things. It's still, you do enough of them and it makes an impact. Bitcoin obviously suffering from that and, bouncing back. It's pretty much trading as the NASDAQ. So, matching that reasonably. It moved all the way down to the 61% Fibonacci line there and bounced all the way back. But look, clean MBI white spikes. There wasn't any question this was going to try and work its way back to the 50%. It has done that. We got magenta fighting to get back over it, so we'll see if that maintains itself. But normal correction within that reading setup, so pretty clean from that matter. The same exact reading from ETH. So you can fight that MBI white, and particularly though once you drop that magenta below 25, it's problematic. And as soon as it dips below, I mean, it's just a matter of how long before you get your move to at least the 50%, and then if it continues, you're looking at a further shed towards the 0%. Just becomes straightforward from that standpoint. Intraday, you can see what we had, the same situation, 50K, MBI white spike, magenta stayed slightly above, that held on for just a little bit, but started at the gate pretty quick, and then once it broke below the 25, you're below the 100%. So as soon as you get your back and forth there, you had a chance to hold the 50% with the brief moves, but you never got a move back above that 25 to make it clean, and continued yellow declining there. So it was just a matter of next weakness to bring it all the way down to the 0, which it took out the 0 and then some, and then bounced back. So now you've got a short cover rally taking place within this with magenta over. So filled the 0, but at the same time also turned around to become a short cover rally with magenta riding up, and that becomes a powerful one to pay attention to, because it's always the strongest spikes where you have MBI white leading, magenta takes over, boom, there you get these nice huge rips to the upside, because you captured everyone to the short side. So we had the big OpX, the pre-market ride, and then it faded off pretty quickly, destroyed all the call side of it, and then those that put action based off of the short-term read and the potentials going into the weekend. Not going to fare so well, because you're going to end up pretty much flat at the open. And they're going to be so disappointed that I had world events on my side. It should have gone my way. And it's like, well, you got to look at the current situation, not what the talking heads say. And when you look at the options the Iranians have, who are they going to turn to? The Chinese, they're going to be concerned about the oil costs. They may say they want to help. Pakistanis say they want to help. Are they going to do anything? Unlikely. Russia, they've got their own problems. It's not like they can send much of anything other than maybe supply some more drones. But it begs the question then, why, if the U.S. been secretly, building a drone army that we don't know about, because that's the new warfare, and the Russians have proved it. That becomes the most effective way, and instead of airplanes and surveillance planes, literally having drones becomes your best defense. And it'd be interesting if they could create ones that were able to intercept some of those missiles coming over earlier. They would not even have to worry about waiting for it to reach target zones. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, it can get ugly. It may take some time for the Iranians to come up with something to do that doesn't create such a backlash that causes them further destruction, because I think it's pretty clear that Trump is going to respond excessively to any minor infringement as a discouragement, and it's an effective tool. As always, though, anything relevant, I'll put it on the team chat. Have a good one. Trade well.